Hi everyone, so I'm here with another video. Finally, it's about user psychology. So we will dive a little bit deep into user psychology today, and I will be talking about this topic with a design that I made. So let's check it out. So here is the design that I'm going to be talking about. I will share just the screen now. So, the design that I made for this section, the user psychology, is basically it's one of my long-awaited dream. Actually, it's interactive horror platform. It's about like you can search and find and watch basically your favorite horror stories. It can be good like graphic novels, etc. So anyway, let's go back to our topic. So it's today's topic is user psychology, and the first thing that I wanna mention is that I just again and again I took a user psychology course. So, and I thought maybe I talk about a little bit about what I have learned and show you with an example with the design that I made. So the first thing is that the cognitive biases. There are so many biases, and I just picked one of them, and it is negativity bias. I thought it's very important. So it basically says that we are inclined to being negative. Like when you facing something, if you realize something negative, the whole experience, the whole thing is actually becomes negative. Again, it's the same with the design as well. When you look at the screen that you are interacting with, it can be a mobile app or a web app like this, and if you realize something negative, you automatically think negative things about it. So in design world, it's very crucial to be like perfect. Basically, it's not an easy feat. So when you look at this screen, when you interact with it, with all the different parts of it, and when you feel like there is nothing wrong with it or it's positive experience, is great. But if you realize something negative, it becomes you become biased basically, and you will say this is not a good app or etc. So anyway, this is one of the yeah, parts of user psychology. And the other thing is UX laws. So basically, there are so many laws as well, just like in the biases. And one of the laws is aesthetic usability effect. So it says again, when you look at a design and when you think that it's aesthetically pleasing, it looks good, and you automatically think that its usability is great as well. I mean, when you look at a design and you think, wow, this looks so clean, and I like the visuals, I like the interactivity, and you automatically think that it's a good app. Basically, it's a useful app. So it's one of the laws of user experience. So the other thing, the other point that I want to make is user needs. There are so many user needs, and I picked again one of them to show you. It's providing users with a choice. So basically, users need to feel in control. And when we look at the design here, and I will again stop showing myself from distraction. When you look at this design, you can see that a user can make some choices here. User can go along with the carousel and look at the different selections or selections. And the other thing is that you are at the home screen right now, and you can go to see what's new, what's popular, or you can see the categories. So there are certain choices that we give to the user. The user can learn more about the related content here from the info section, and you can search, you can look at your bookmarks, you can look at your profile information, etc. So there are certain choices that user can make, and it's very important to give user choices, but it's again very important not to give so many choices to the user, so that user don't get confused. So the other thing, the other point that I want to make is human memory. So there are so many different parts to the human memory, but the one of the important parts I think is being consistent, and it's very important in terms of spatial memory. Spatial memory is actually basically like a visual, like contextual memory, you can say. And when you look at the design, and again I will close myself, when you look at this design and you can see there is a certain font choice, there's a certain button choice, there's certain color choices here, and the the interaction even it needs to be stay consistent. And when you move through carousel again, the next carousel should be consistent in terms of again the font choice, the buttons. This consistency is great for human memory, so you can remember where basically you need to put your certain categories choices at the header section because it's familiar. You can put the icons, the most useful icons at the upright part of the page because it's users are familiar with it basically. So it's human memory at the very basic. So the other point is cognitive load. Again, we already talked about it, but cognitive load happens when you put so many information on the screen for the user to analyze basically. So when you look at this screen, there is no cognitive load because it's all the necessary information. When there is this question that designers should ask themselves, that it says in terms of minimizing visual clutter, you can ask this: what's the purpose of this section, for example, or what's the purpose of these buttons? When you ask, when there is a certain purpose, when they serve a purpose, all the elements in this page, and you know the answers, it's important to put them. And the screen that you're designing, that you put in front of the user, is basically becomes more digestible. I mean, when you look at the screen again, it's not so convoluted, it's not confusing, it's basic, it's clean. So yeah, the cognitive loads is very important, and you should always consider it when designing. The other thing is that user trust. Again, we are coming back to the visual design. If you want the trust of the user, you need to make your design like pleasing for the eye of the user. So when you look at this design, if you recognize something that is maybe ugly, it's not good for the user. The visual design is, in that sense, is very important because it's your when you design something, you directly make it for the user's eye. So they, when they recognize it, they need to think it's pleasing. It should be visually pleasing. So visual design is very, very important, very crucial. The other thing is that we can mention is basically persuasive design. It's again very important. So the persuasive design says motivation, ability, and trigger are the three factors that makes the user take an action. So for example, let's look at the design again, and let me close myself again. So what we said, let's go back and repeat: motivation, ability, and trigger. So the motivation, so user is here, and user needs a certain motivation to get interacted, to have an interaction with the interface. So the motivation is watching an interesting content. So in here we can see there is this blooming flesh horror story, and there is this interesting visual. So the user might get basically interested right off the bat. And the trigger, the ability. So the ability is that you need to provide user the easiest way to interact with your interface. So in here, the users need just to watch now. It's so basic. You see the content, you see the title, the content information, and you see some interaction buttons, and you can directly get interacted with it. Again, in this carousel as well, like there is this interesting visual, and it's actually the trigger. So you make it visually interesting, and you give the ability to the user, and you make it you give them a motivation to interact with your product actually. So these three things when combined is become persuasive for the user and make your designs much more interactive, much more fun. So yeah, and yeah, that's basically it actually. These are the points that I wanted to make. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will keep putting these videos as long as I learn something. And yeah, this was user psychology. I hope you again enjoyed it, and see you on the next video. Bye.